okay?
Come on, let's keep it in.
Is he okay?
Let's get him in the ring.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, the sarcasm by KO as he delivers the flying elbow.
What's going on, good people? This is the Common Man, Nate Lewis, back with a brand new Common Take. Today is September 26, 2016, CommonManPodcast.com, and we are here to recap the WWE Clash of Champions pay-per-view, along with talking UFC 205, Cyborg news, and the rest. But first, I got to thank the people that helped make this podcast possible. First off, Herbalife.com. You've been hearing me talk about it for weeks. Herbalife is the #1 protein and meal replacement product in the world. Tons of great shakes and products. One of my favorites, of course, being the Liftoff. Look, stop drinking the Monsters. Stop drinking the Red Bull. Get you some nice, safe, good energy building supplements that'll get you going throughout the day. Check out the link in the description. Also need to thank Amazon.com. Hey, look, it is that holiday time. You need to find the perfect gift. You want to get it on cheap. You want to get it from a product or a company that you know and respect. So check out Amazon.com. There are links all throughout the description and also on CommonManPodcast.com. It's a great way to help support the show also. So click the links and get your part of the perfect gift. And finally, UFC. And look, we're all UFC fans here if you're listening to this podcast. Look, stop beating around the bush. Sign up for UFC Fight Pass. There's a link in the description for not only a 1-week free trial, but a 1-month free trial of Fight Pass. So check that out. Links are in the description. Links are all throughout the website. Click on them. Help support the show. All right, so here we go. But first, I need to introduce my co-partner in crime. AJ, what's going on with you?
Hello, little kitties.
It's always nice to have you on the show. A little rough around your neck of the woods, huh?
Yeah, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and most of you know there was a situation here last week involved a police shooting of a man, unarmed man. Not sure about everything, but there was some protest, mostly peaceful, but there was some getting out of hands, a little rioting, looting. But so it's just a little shaky around here still. It's calming down, it's still a little shaky.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear everything's going okay with you. And for those who don't know, I actually live here in Tulsa, and we've had our own incident with shooting of an unarmed man. Thankfully, things have not gotten really out of hand here, but you know, it's a shame what's going on in the country, but it's kind of becoming the norm, and I really hate to say that. But we're going to digress. No more politics or that talk here. We're here to talk WWE Clash of Champions, and it was a show. It was a show. AJ, what were your thoughts overall on the show?
Would it be wrong to say that SmackDown put on a better pay-per-view?
You know, I've been hearing other people say that as well. It wouldn't be wrong to say that. SmackDown had Backlash was a great show. But I left this one, you know, overall, I mean, after the show was done, I thought it was a great show. Overall. SmackDown may have been better, but I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, I mean, there were some matches that, you know, they could have lost off of here. There's some things that didn't make sense wrestling-wise, but it wasn't too bad. I enjoyed it.
I'm not going to lie. A lot of the finishes on this show kind of really took away from the matches. I can't think of a better example of this than Cesaro and Sheamus match, which was phenomenal. And we got that finish. And, you know, anytime you have anything happen in pro wrestling, you always have two sides of the fence. One side wants to quickly say, you know, the match was great, the finish was shit, and the other side, no, this finish makes sense. This finish did not make sense. And I'll get into that when we go over the match itself, but I hated this finish. But I love the main event finish.
Oh, yes. Yes, how can you just not love Jericho right now?
Oh, man, the gift of Jericho is a gift that keeps on giving. I would not be surprised once all this is said and done, we have a scarf line from Jericho come on out. I'll be the first one in line to get one. But let's run over the card. We'll start with the Alicia Fox and Nia Jax match that was on the pre-show. And guess what? I actually did watch a pre-show match. Started off pretty much exactly like their last match. Nia was dominant early, just throwing Alicia Fox everywhere, which is great. There was at one point she kind of had her by the hair and just tossed her like you would toss a bad piece of fish off your plate. And Alicia landed square on her feet and ass. Did not look fun. Alicia got a little bit of a comeback. I will say this, though. When she was getting her comeback, this is something that is always difficult for the larger athletes. I'm not talking about Nia's weight here, but anyone that's perceived to be a monster is selling can always be a weak point. You don't want your giants to be selling like your smaller athletes, but Nia's selling is horrendous. I'm just going to say that. Alicia made the comeback. She got a quick 1 count off a body cross, I believe, and then she did her scissors kick and got a near fall. Nia quickly snatched her up in a Samoan drop, got the pin and the win. Average match. It was fine for what it was.
Yeah, part of me is getting really who's going to lose first, her or Braun Strowman? I mean, he's building up these monster people that just don't seem to do anything more than just dominate. It's just doesn't do anything for me anymore.
I think it can kind of run its course. What I'm hoping is, I haven't read a lot of house show reports on Nia or Braun Strowman. I would think if you're going to have these guys do squash matches on television, when they're out on the road, they're actually working on having longer matches to be able to be somewhat presentable when they put them on television. I was completely fine with this one. I mean, I love Alicia Fox, and even more so since she wants us to talk it out, which I am still wanting that printed on a T-shirt. But I thought this was fine, and I haven't gotten bored with the Nia squashes just yet. I wish they would find her jobbers like they have been able to find with Strowman, but this was fine.
Yeah, I mean, for what it was, a pre-show match. Just the crowd going. At least she changed that finisher from that weird slam thing that she was doing to just basically a Samoan drop.
The Samoan drop is absolutely fine. The leg drop actually would have been fine as well, but I like the Samoan drop. That works just fine for me. So the show opens up and we get the New Day versus Gallows and Anderson. The New Day comes out. They cut their, I guess, usual promo. I was kind of distracted with all this going on, but I mean, New Day's New Day. If you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all. Nothing really stood out to me. But the match got going, and a lot of people seem to have not liked the match, and I don't know whether that has to do with the finish or not, but I thought this match was great. It started off with they took out Big E, they took out Xavier Woods, they even took out Francesca at the beginning of the match, and the match never ever slowed down. In my notes here, I wrote that this is a great fast-paced match, and I almost deleted it because as I was typing that, Michael Cole said fast-paced action. And I was like, shit, I don't want to agree with Michael Cole here. But I mean, it really went back and forth. There was the Buddha Doom spot that we got for a near fall, a spine buster by, I believe it was Gallows for a near fall. They were going for the Magic Killer, and Big E got the tag in. Went for a big ending, got another near fall with that, with Gallows making the save. And finally, it kind of broke down. We got another blind tag into Kofi. We got the, what's it called? The Midnight Rider? Is that their finish?
Yeah.
We got that hit on with the pin after Xavier Woods distracted Gallows with Francesca, which thankfully didn't take a bump as bad as Cesaro took later in the night and was able to recover. And New Day, still your tag team champions. A lot of people upset about this. How do you feel?
When a match first started, like I said, it was great. It's the way I think Gallows and Anderson should have been. Not no dummy thing, not no playing doctors, whatever. Just come out there and just hard nosed beating the crap out of people. I liked the match and everything. It was a good fast paced match. I mean, I was glad Big E didn't hit his suicide spear outside to the outside. I don't think he should ever hit that move ever again.
And trust me, Cesaro would have made up for it later.
I was a little though by Xavier using Francesca to hit Gallows and win. That was a little odd for the baby faces to cheat.
Yeah, but it definitely was. It kind of surprised me as well. But I mean, when the other team is taking out one of your partners by taking out his balls and putting him on the shelf for a few weeks, I think you're allowed to use a trombone to get a little bit of payback. And it sets up a rematch. It may be tomorrow night on Raw. We'll see how it goes there. But I mean, for people upset about the finish, look, the match was great. We didn't have to have a god-awful Gallows and Anderson comeback segment to the New Day on the mic. It just worked fine. The feud continues. Just get over it. I will say, though, we talked about Big E not hitting his dive and landing on his neck. Kofi in that one dive. Tonight it was a lot safer than some of the other ones he's done, but he landed right on his hip. And I cringed. And I hope the ice packs are ready, but let's just stop with some of these dives, guys. Let's just stop the dives.
Yeah, there's too much of it. There's too much diving. Everybody's doing it. It takes away from it, and it's just, it needs to turn it down some.
Speaking of taking away from it, here's a good example of it. You got all these guys doing dives, and then you have up next you had the Cruiserweight Championship match, T.J. Perkins versus Brian Kendrick. This is what these guys have. These guys have these cool moves. They have the dives. They have the 450s and all that. But if the roster up and down is doing it, what's going to make the Cruiserweight special? But before the match, we get T.J. Perkins backstage. And I'm not going to read what I wrote during this. But Perkins, keep him off the mic. This was uncomfortable. This was horrendous. And I thought, oh shit, this is going to start off in such a bad, bad way.
I'll tell you this much though. As soon as Perkins got introduced and his music came on, I thought we were watching Mega Man.
That fucking music was
yes.
Awesome. awesome.
I think Perkins should run with it. He should beat people, and when he beats them, he should be able to steal their finishing moves.
Exactly. I'm also making a movement now. Look, I think for one night, WWE entertain me. Have everyone's theme music be 16-bit. It just makes everything so much fun. I believe there's a YouTube channel up somewhere where someone takes a bunch of wrestlers' themes and put them in 16-bit. Just do it for one night, and we'll see how much fun the crowd has. But yeah, Kendrick comes out. He's wearing his classic 2009 Kendrick jacket. Just great. We already talked about Perkins and his music. I thought this match had a very good chance of dying a death, and the crowd stuck with it. Early on, we got a knee bar attempt from Perkins, and then we got one of my favorite spots ever in a match. That's when one of the wrestlers is going either through the ropes or under the ropes, and the wrestler on the outside grabs the apron and throws it over him to stop the momentum. I love that spot, and we got it here. And surprisingly, we also got some dueling chants for both Kendrick and for Perkins, which was good. A couple of wonky submission moves. We got a flipping mule kick. Perkins hit a Hurricane Rana as Kendrick is kind of laying across the top rope and takes him to the outside. That could have been really bad. It worked out okay. We had a botched kind of neck breaker. That's fine. These things happen when you get these guys moving the way they are. End of the match, we kind of get to Perkins is going for the knee bar again. There's a couple reversals. We get a go behind. Kendrick hits the slice bread number 2 and gets the near fall. Perkins hits him again with the knee bar and gets the tap out. And overall, a really, really solid match.
I was offended. Kendrick took Eva Marie's finishing move.
Yeah, and what's she going to do now? What's so special about Eva Marie? There's absolutely no reason to still want to see her now at all. I can't think of 2 reasons at all that we want to see Eva Marie on television anymore.
I can think of 2 reasons.
2 reasons. But yeah, overall solid match. I liked it. It did very well, and I was really glad the crowd stuck with the match.
Yeah, Kendrick, we always knew was a great performer. You always know. Most of the time he's high, but he's always a great performer. And Perkins, I think he's just getting used to it. I think, unfortunately, WWE didn't have plans for him to be in that position. But when things fell a certain way, that people didn't sign contracts with him, he was their best option.
Yeah. Going back, it's kind of odd to me that you started tournament not having the people you want signed, and then you kind of go through the who's advancing to where, and you end up with your final 4, and you don't have one of the guy that everybody thought should win. Kota Ibushi's not signed, and Grand Metalik, I know he has some indie dates to finish up. And a little odd, but I mean, Perkins, with that music, man, we saw what it's done for Bobby Roode, so maybe that music can help him get over. During the post-match, I got scared because we had generic announcer in the ring getting ready to interview Perkins, and I started to scream in horror. Thankfully, Brian Kendrick saved the day, and a really cool moment. They shake hands, they kind of go in embrace, and the crowd is really, crowd is into it. I thought it was a nice moment, and then Kendrick on that heel shit, #heel shit, use that on Twitter, whatever, headbutts him. Headbutts, lays out Perkins, walks off, tons of heat for this. Kendrick's a great heel. Good to see this, and good to see that this feud is going to continue.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Kendrick's, I was like watching him. I think actually he did some of his best odd work at NTNA. But truthfully, yeah, I'm just glad he's back there. I mean, he's got talent. And you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing the Brian Kendrick back again.
All right, everybody. Sorry about that. I had a little audio difficulty, but AJ, we got you back?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So up next, it's the match we were kind of hinting at earlier, the match number 7 of the best of 7, Cesaro versus Sheamus. And I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. When this match was, first couple minutes into this match, I was just not feeling this at all. It was just, I've seen the match now. Obviously, it's the best of 7, so we've seen 6 matches, but we had matches before this one. The matches are always good, but I've seen it so many times. So I was kind of tuned out to this match. And things really took a change where I'm going to use a phrase that was used in the Cult of Kayfabe thread tonight, and I want to give credit to Brandon DeLarge. Cesaro hit a Swiss 1-9. Not 619, Swiss 19. Brandon, thanks a lot for that one. I told you I was going to use it, so I got that in there for you. Dude, what did you think of the 619?
Well, I was seeing anybody making comments about it. They were saying how he did a slow 619, he did a 719, he did a 61290. Me, he did a 619 Common Core style.
There you go.
That thing was long and drawn out and was like slow.
Still, for a man his size to be able to, get between the ropes, get that swinging momentum. Hey, look, it could have been a lot worse than it was.
It got worse later on in the match.
Oh, it did. It did. So we get to, I'm just going to kind of go off my notes here. We get to a Cloverleaf spot. Sheamus is trying to turn over Cesaro's. It's just these stiff kicks to the back. Finally gets him turned over. And later on, we get a Celtic Cross. And Sheamus just drops Cesaro right on his knee from the Celtic Cross. I wrote, fuck you. This spot looked brutal. There is no way in hell. There's a lot of things I would do for money. I would get in there with Mickey Gall with no experience and get my ass handed to me. I'm not taking this move. Just putting that out there. We get to a spot, and they kind of play, and this was kind of one of the reasons I really like this match. Because they've done so many matches in a short amount of time, they call back to spots that they have done in previous matches, and you get reversals out of it. Cesaro went for his suplex spot. Sheamus reversed it and went for white noise, and Cesaro reversed it. It's just beautiful spots like that. I really had got me back into the match. And then I'm just gonna read what I wrote here. Cesaro goes for a dive. Holy shit! He's fucking dead. He's dead. He's dead. Oh my god! I hope he's okay. He's moving. Holy shit, he took a fucking bump. Why is he taking bumps? I guess he's fine. What the hell?
That was pretty much the same result everybody else was saying. As soon as I saw it, I just yelled, fuck. And then they should have replayed, I yelled, fuck again. My girl comes out, she's looking at me funny. I'm like, you gotta watch it. She looks at it for a second and looks at me in disgust and then walks back in the room.
Kind of similar to what happened with my wife. My wife came after the match and she just, what was you holy shitting about earlier? So I went back and kind of played it again, and she just kind of just shook her head and left. That, for those who haven't seen the spot, it's very reminiscent, and it got brought up a couple times on my feed. Very reminiscent of the Lita Trish Stratus spot where Lita goes for that dive and fucking scorpions, and it was bad. Absolutely bad. But like I said, I mean, we got a bro kick right after that, so he appeared to be fine. Cesaro hit a neutralizer for a near fall. At this point, I wrote, this shit has gotten awesome. The crowd started chanting, "This is awesome." Go back and forth a little bit more. Sheamus hits a white noise onto the floor, and then Cesaro follows that up with a clothesline that takes them both over the barricade. Right when it went over the barricade, I said, well, here we go. We got a double count out, which I can just feel my level of excitement of this match die. It said we didn't even get a double count out. Ref went over there and checked, rang the bell, match is called off. What the fuck?
The dusty finish.
Dude,
Man, that was... I don't know what they're going to go with this, unless we're getting a rematch on Raw, or is this going to lead to one of them leaving, heading over to SmackDown after, or what? Because
and
spent all the time building up this match. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, a lot of people have said that. They said, oh, well, this may lead to an 8th match. It may lead to this. But it's like you said, we got honey-dicked here. We were told this is the best of 7. We're anticipating this match, and part of the intrigue of this match is this is it. And the winner gets a title shot. And then you get us all lathered up in this sea of, oh, this is going to be great. This is the end. And then you basically took a power hose to our dreams here and killed it and told us, you just got to fucking wait and see.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I'll tell you this much, though. I did find it funny that Booker brought up his best of 7 series. Didn't say who it was against.
It was against Vacant, man. Vacant's a Hall of Famer, man. He's got multiple world title runs, U.S. title runs, Intercontinental title runs, best of 7 runs. He won the main event at WrestleMania 20 also. Vacant for Hall of Fame. And just going back to the idea of this, I heard you mention that maybe they'll finish this on Raw. This is the part that kind of bothers me more than anything else. This is on a pay-per-view that you had the best of 7 at. So it's not like if you did the 7th match on Raw and you go, well, it's leading to something on the next pay-per-view. You're on a pay-per-view and you do this finish. So hopefully it doesn't set up on Raw. I hope they find a way to put this off into Hell in a Cell, because at least that way you blow it off on a big show. I hope to, and I do not have faith that they won't do this. I fully expect them to have another match on Raw and we have a winner there to basically just say fuck you to anyone who is still paying for pay-per-views at this point.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I hope they don't do that, but we'll see.
Which is ridiculous if you're still paying for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, before I moved out here to this area, I was in a rural area where, I still had the network. I had the network, launch day out there, and I know people are going to laugh when they hear this, but I was getting download speeds of like 0.4 megabits per second. Yeah, slow. That's how bad it was. That was their DSL speed. But
AOL dial-up.
Exactly. But what the strange thing was? I actually watched WrestleMania 30 out there, and it streamed absolutely fine with no problem. Weirdest thing in the world. But, for people like that in those areas, it makes more sense for them to buy the pay-per-view still through their provider. It's ridiculous, but that's just how it is. So I hope the fans who are in areas like that or for whatever reason don't have the network and decided to buy this show just to see the ending to this match, I am really, really sorry. And I hope WWE makes it up to you somehow.
Yeah. Before we go on to the next match, I got to ask you, did you see the promo for the new wrestling game, 2K17?
I saw that up and down my timeline. I stepped out of the room. I did not see that. What was up with it?
It's like they filmed it. Well, it's a standard, promo, Brock, Goldberg, all that stuff. But they have a bunch of other wrestlers in it. And I guess they filmed this a while ago because they go into a bar one scene, and one of the guys sitting at the bar is Alberto Del Rio.
Ooh.
Yeah. Kind of awkward.
Well, hey, he's still getting them checks, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Alberto. Still collecting them checks from WWE and 2K.
But, not to plug the game or anything, but if you are interested in the game, I heard that one of the new modes they got is you can be a Paul Heyman guy in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Gotta jump all over that one. Hey, I'll see if I can get you a 2K deal with just that plug right there. We'll see what we can do. Backstage we have, and I wrote in all caps, it's Bayley and Charlotte. There wasn't much to this. It was basically you don't deserve to be in this match. I do deserve to be in this match. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. And that was it. There's not much to it. Wasn't bad. Wasn't good. Just there.
Yeah.
Up next, we were given the gift of Jericho versus Sami Zayn. And one of the first things I wrote to go with this match was, A, it's going to be tough to follow that last match. And B, Jericho, I love Jericho. I'll gush over him as I do this review. He calls his spots so loudly. Not only can you see him physically calling the spots, you can hear it. I don't have the best speakers in the world right now. I can hear almost any time he called a spot. It was very, very audible. And I know ever since we got over to the the high def format, it's been more apparent when guys are calling spots. But can we do something where I don't hear spots being called?
Yeah, him and John Cena are very notorious for calling out stuff.
This just to me stood out. I mean, if you want to know exactly what I'm talking about, go to the very early parts of the match where Sammy's beating up on Jericho in the corner. And not only, like I said, not only can you see him calling spots, you can hear it. It's unavoidable. But I love how this match started. I mean, it started off, Sami Zayn just put them hands right to Jericho. It wasn't a lockup or any type of chain wrestling. They were just beating the hell out of each other. They get to the outside, and Sami does this thing where he runs up, hops on the top of the barricade, hits a moonsault. Thought was great. Jericho gets the heat. Sami Zayn starts to make his comeback. He hits a dive, which I wrote, thankfully he did not on his head. I think I wrote that for every dive for the rest of the show. Sorry, we get to a spot. Sami gets hit with a step-up enziguri, and Jericho's laying in these kicks, and they're starting to sell that Sami may have had, maybe out of it, which always kind of makes me, I'm never really sure how to feel when the announcers are trying to sell that someone may be concussed. I think that's just in poor taste, but I got over it quickly. Went to a lion salt, got knee there, tornado, just a bunch of moves going back and forth. We hit a part where Sami goes for the haluva kick, gets reversed into a code breaker. Sami then reverses that into an exploder into the corner. We get Jericho landing the wall. Sami Zayn's reaching for the ropes. He does the thing where he crawls up between the legs, gets a small package, near fall. Sami then hits the blue thunder bomb, gets a near fall there, and then Jericho hits, I guess he's wanting his new hashtag to be out of nowhere, because he hit this code breaker straight out of nowhere for the win. I thought this was really good. Almost a little bit better than I was expecting, which is saying a lot when it comes to Sami Zayn, but I thought this was a pretty solid match.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Like I said, right now Jericho is one of the more entertaining guys on the roster. I mean, just from last week with his list, I was dying the whole time. And then, like, this match, you just see he's playing the heel perfectly.
And it's a much different heel than he's played before. Jericho takes a lot of pride in being able to do something others aren't doing. Going back to his 2009 run with the suits and the very slow, methodical way he talked. And I know he's always been a fan of, heels shouldn't have catchphrases. I guess he threw that the hell out the window because he's got some great ones. The stupid idiot sign was very visible during this match. It is my favorite. I do that all the time now. It annoys the shit out of everybody. and the scarf, and I mentioned this earlier. There was the promo poster for this match. Jericho is slowly morphing into Tony Stark. Not Robert Downey Jr. It's Tony Starkish, and I love it. But yeah, right now Jericho, and especially with him and Owens now, is a great act, and I hope they don't break them up anytime soon.
Nah, and like I said, I'm loving Jericho. It kind of reminds me of his WCW run when he was turning heel before he left. Yeah. He had the whole thing with the cruiserweights and everything. It reminds me of that. Just fun, entertaining. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, and I've heard some complaints on this one. If you're a betting person, I think the odds were extremely one-sided here. I think Sami was a minus 1,500 favorite in this one. And sometimes WWE will look at a card and they go, okay, this match, it really doesn't matter who wins, so everybody thinks this person's going to win, so we're going to do this. I don't necessarily think that was the case here. Having Jericho win, and then later on that night with the finish you were going to have with the main event, I think it works perfectly. Now you have Owens and Jericho come out tomorrow night bragging about their wins they had the previous night. Sami Zayn's obviously going to, get a win somewhere along in this feud, and that's something I want to get into a little bit later, but I'll touch on it now. Even though Jericho's part-timer and he comes in and out, you can't just have him job to everybody. So, he gets the win here tonight. Doesn't hurt Sami Zayn at all. Good match. So, get over it, people.
Damn, what do you have, them Cyborg betting odds?
Yeah, something like that. I can't even remember the source I got this site off of, but, anytime I want to put a bet on this, I always forget it last minute, and then all the books are closed. It's like, shit! But, so we go backstage. We have Kevin Owens with Foley and Stephanie McMahon. And I like this. You still had the GM, commissioner, whatever you want to call these two in their roles. They're on the show, but they're not on the show, if you know what I mean. So these two segments they had.
Yeah, they're not.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they're not like, you're not starting out each Raw with them out there 15, 30 minutes talking. You're not there, 6 times showing them backstage talking like they used to do with the Authority. They limit them, which is nice.
Yeah, it was just 2 segments. Got the point across for the main event. This one was Kevin Owens. Foley and Stephanie are saying how much they're proud of him, and Owens is, obviously very skeptical hearing that from Mick Foley. And at one point, I just love, he's talking, Foley's trying to, hey, no, it's great, and he just goes, please stop interrupting me. Just I'm going to gloat over Kevin Owens during the main event. He was on fire tonight, and it was just great. Point in the promo was he wanted to prove that he should have been picked over Seth Rollins during the draft, and he wanted to prove that he was the man and that he was the main event. This really, really good segment backstage.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I don't want to see Foley anymore. I'm getting kind of sick of him.
Really?
And I was a big Foley fan. And yeah, just seeing him now, I think it's also with his show. They're plugging every 5 minutes, the Holy Foley.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much. I like it, and he's not really interacting with Stephanie that much. Like, I don't know if they're building up to where he's going to have to interact and go against Stephanie or whatever, or if he's going to actually go heel. But, yeah, I just not feeling Foley anymore.
Well, that's very interesting. I bet that's the first I've heard someone not feeling the Foley. I can see where it comes from, because I was very annoyed with Foley last week with the don't interrupt the main event, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. Tell the Rollins not to interrupt. Don't interrupt. There will be consequences, and his consequences was to put him in a match with a guy who also interfered. But, very interesting. Women's title match was up next. This match got a lot of comparisons to the triple threat match at Mania. Did you kind of get that same vibe with this match also?
I did. I got it seems, okay, I'm going to also probably piss off a lot of your fans now too with this. I felt that the SmackDown Women's title match was better than this match.
The 6-way?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily would call it better. I mean, it was very much, when people are trying to compare these two shows, Backlash and Clash of Champions, one of the things I looked at is one of my favorite matches on Backlash was the women's match. And same went for tonight. I thought the women's match here was great tonight also. I think they were about on par. I will say, kind of also going into the match, they found a way to keep Bayley out of a lot of this match. And I wonder if that had anything to do. I mean, they changed this match a lot. It was originally, going way back before Sasha got hurt. Obviously, it was supposed to be Sasha and Charlotte here. And Sasha got hurt, so they kind of moved over to Charlotte and Bayley. And then Sasha was coming back, so they wanted to go back to Charlotte and Sasha, and then the double pin and all that. So now we ended up with a triple threat. And they found a way to kind of keep Bayley out of a lot of it, and I think that's to kind of give her that spot since this was such a confusing time, but also save her later on down the road for a feud with one of the two women.
Yeah.
So it was both good and bad. It was a good match, but it kind of, I don't know what's the best way to put that. I can see why this was done the way it was done.
Yeah, and my biggest problem with this match, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but Dana Brooks needs a new outfit.
Oh, yes, that is not flattering at all.
It's just horrible looking.
You know, it reminded me of the Eva Marie's first WrestleMania match when they gave her that white one-piece thing.
Oh, God.
And it's like, are you trying to make a beautiful person as ugly as possible? and look,
yeah,
that
was just a bad topic.
Yeah, it was. And I'm not trying to take away anything from Dana Brooke. I don't want anybody tweeting me shit about me being sexist or anything like that. Dana's not the most knockdown gorgeous person on the planet, but she's a very beautiful woman. I'll say it like that. Maybe that'll save me some face there.
Yeah.
And yeah, this outfit does nothing for her. It actually makes her. She's a short person. It makes her look shorter.
Now I've heard reasons why she wears that outfit.
Well,
people all speculate. People have rumors.
Mm.
You know, they say that maybe Dana's hiding a gut, which I don't know how because I thought she was like a fitness model.
Yeah. I don't know. I've heard that too, and there's other way. I mean, Becky Lynch has her wrestling attire doesn't exactly endear her to having the most of her body exposed, and I think it does a much better job here than what Dana's wearing. But I will say this though, as far as the match goes, I found Dana to be one of the more entertaining aspects. I don't know if she's taken some advice from Jericho on how to just shout shit from the apron and still be entertaining as hell. But I mean, I can hear her several times during, "You go, Charlotte," and just being such an annoying little asshole. I found it so great. A little bit more into the match. Like I said, Bayley was really not, especially early in the match, they found a way to get her outside the ring, and for a while, was just a one-on-one between Sasha and Charlotte. And it kind of started off that way because Sasha went right after Charlotte, and even the announcers brought up the fact that Sasha's being very tunnel vision and going right after Charlotte. And Bayley at one point kind of grabbed her arm and said, "I'm in this match too." I don't know if that was by design, but like in the match, she actually said, "Hey, Sasha, I'm in the match too. Why aren't you punching me?" But
yeah, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm liking that they kept her out because, you know, to me, Bayley could be your next John Cena in a sense. She'd be popular with the kids. She could, you know, do all the charity things. And if they mess it up on her, they're really going to drop the ball. Because, I mean, she'd just be perfect to basically take over for John Cena.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's what I really, when people were begging for Bayley to come up, I almost wanted to say, look, no, I don't. See, I grew NXT, but I didn't want her called up yet because there were still so many different ways you can go with the women's division. And so many things that would help her story. And I just kind of wanted them to keep her off just a little bit longer. And I think her being called up now, she's not going to be, at least from what you saw tonight, she's not going to be in a title picture anytime soon. So I'm worried they're going to let her kind of hang in limbo for a little while. And that's the last thing she needs.
And to be honest with everything, Charlotte deserves a lot of attention. She's really good as a heel.
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and plug something now. I'm almost done with the. If you've been on my website, commonmanpodcast.com, you've seen that I've done a series of modern era 3-year runs. Just who's had the best one. I've done features on Kurt Angle, John Cena, CM Punk. The AJ Styles one is coming up here in a few days. The next thing I'm going to tackle is Charlotte herself. Because a lot of this women's revolution, people are attributed to, the 4 Horsewomen, or they attribute it to Paige or AJ Lee. To me, Charlotte has been the MVP for the women's division. Every aspect or feud that she touched, it works. Is she the best on the mic? No. Is she the best in the ring? No. But somehow, she is the best woman they have on the roster right now. I firmly believe that. So look out for that one coming up. Going back to the match, this moonsault spot where Charlotte has both Sasha and Bayley kind of on the ground, and she goes up for the moonsault. How beautiful is this moonsault that Charlotte can pull off?
She hit that perfectly too. There was nobody got hit with any knees or anything. It was perfect.
Yeah, and it wasn't the two, Sasha and Bayley, were not stacked up on top of each other. They were side to side. And still, like you said, I mean, a lot can go wrong with that. I mean, if she's off a little to the left, a little to the right, someone's getting hurt. This is just perfect. It looks beautiful. It reminded me of, I don't know if you remember this, the Kurt Angle vacant steel cage match on Raw. where Angle's at the top of the steel cage and he hits that moonsault, and there's just so much arc in it, just beautiful. We get some back and forth. We get some near falls. Charlotte hits a natural selection on Bayley, and they take turns breaking up pins. And we get to the finish here. And Sasha's on the apron. She's kind of grabbing. I think she's grabbing at Bayley. Bayley kind of shoos her away and eats a boot from Charlotte. Charlotte knocks Bayley into Sasha, knocks her off the apron, hits another big boot on Bayley, gets the pin and the win. And a lot of people are down on this finish as well. I didn't see it that way. How did you like the finish?
I mean, as a wrestling fan, if you watch wrestling for an extended amount, even a little bit of time, and you saw what was happening right there. You knew what was going to happen once Sasha was up on the apron and Bayley was in between and Charlotte was on the other end. You knew what was going to happen. But I liked it. I mean, it kind of helps everybody, covers everybody. Nobody's taking the hurt from the loss, really, because, you had, Sasha bumped into Bayley. So I liked it.
I did too, and one of the reasons that I liked it is because when she hit the boot and got the pin, I'm like, oh, well, now they set up the big boot can finish a match. It's not just a natural selection. It's not just a figure eight. Now she has another move she can win with also. And she doesn't beat Sasha, who I still believe is going to be the next challenger. I thought the finish was perfect. And the match.
You're right. With the big boot and putting the big boot as a finishing move, it's a nice move because you always want to have a finishing move that you can hit out of nowhere. In a sense.
Exactly. Hashtag out of nowhere. And like I said, going back to what. Say what now?
Oh, Jericho's going to sue us.
Okay, I need to keep quiet there. Just going back to what we said earlier, the six women's match we had on Backlash, very good match. This is very good too. If on par, obviously I don't think it's better than the Backlash match, but it's on par, maybe a step below it. But it was one of my favorite matches of the night, and that led to a match. Roman Reigns versus Rusev. Look, I'm going to say this. This match was not bad. But I could give two shits about this match.
There were a lot of problems I had with this match.
Why don't you go ahead and I'm going to try to compose myself when I get to mine. Go ahead.
I mean, the standard match, is great. Rusev he's improving greatly. I mean, he should be a main event guy. His gimmick's great. He's got a great look. He can put on good matches. Roman, number one, at WWE, we understand you're piping in stuff. And you're meeting the crowd. Not trying to be mean, but we know it. Okay, you don't have to keep fooling us. Number two, Roman needs to understand something. When a guy stomps on your back like 5 times and puts you in the acolyte, you don't get right back up and run and do a spear. You sell. But I love Lana. I love Lana's spot in it.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't think you were mad if you didn't love the Lana spot. Go ahead.
But, truthfully, I don't see why they did this title change here. It really going to do nothing. I mean, it was better Rusev being the evil guy with the U.S. Championship than Roman, the bland guy with the championship.
Yeah. You harped on a lot of the problems I had with the match also. And just to give everybody a quick what happened here. Rusev went for the accolade. Roman reversed to hit a spear. Lana broke up the pin. Ref tosses her instead of DQing him. But Mouse's made a big deal about that. Then basically...
You've got Lana yelling at you, walking back out. I didn't do nothing.
She didn't do nothing. I didn't see anything. This distracts Rusev. Rusev eats a spear. Roman gets the pin. Look, like I said before, this match wasn't bad. it was almost the exact same thing as to me, it was almost the same thing as a Cesaro and Sheamus match where I've seen this match a bunch. So I know exactly what to expect here. The only difference is that Sheamus and Cesaro found a way to give me something new and to draw me into the match. Once you kind of get past the heat spot, there's a little part of the match where you can do something new to kind of lead into your near fall. So we didn't get that. We got the very cut and dry Roman Rusev, very reminiscent to the match we got on Raw a couple weeks ago. And it bored me to tears. The fans weren't really into it. There was some CM Punk chants, which, I mean, maybe Rene Dupree piped that in there. I don't know. Maybe he was right about fans. I don't know, but I found it very funny. Mm-hmm. And this match, as far as Roman winning the title, I don't hate it. Obviously, they still have plans for Roman Reigns. They still believe he's the guy. They're putting him kind of on this different path to keep him out of the title picture and hope that will take some of the heat off of him. I don't think it helps him winning the U.S. title in that regard, but they saw what it did for John Cena, so they're thinking, hey, we can copy that and get that to Roman. Fine, whatever. But you're right. Rusev, very much like The Miz on SmackDown, being that champion, the kind of the second tier champion with the woman by his side, that's a great act. And I would not have taken the title off. I would not have taken the title off of him. I thought this wasn't the way to go, but they did it, and they did it here, and we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Also, before we get into anything else, did you notice the announcers table with Cole and Corey and them weren't ringside?
Yeah, they kept it very much like they do on Raw. They kept them in that position up there. Well, because who was ringside? It was the Spanish announce table. Was there another announce table there also?
German, I think. I think it was German.
Really? Okay. German, yeah. True. We'll put that there. But, so it gave them an opportunity to kind of be out there. And, I don't necessarily like the announce team being away from the desk, but it does make it different from SmackDown where they're still at ringside. So that works for me. So we get another backstage segment. This time it's with Seth Rollins meeting up with Stephanie and Foley. I thought this was great. I didn't actually write anything down for this one, but just, Steph and Foley doing the same thing. Hey, good luck tonight. And Seth basically tells them off. I know yes. Basically, at the end is basically, you guys, you're backing the wrong horse. I'm going to prove that I'm the man. Tell your husband he backed the wrong horse. It was so great. Go back and watch this segment if you have not seen it. Seth Rollins is kind of tween the last 2 weeks or so. I believe everyone knows he's going full babyface. And he's been kind of tweening, but this promo here, while still it was kind of a tweeny promo, very much made him a face, and I thought it was great.
The match was great. Yeah, the match was good. I like Seth Rollins. A little bit. I do get the whole Shield reunion feeling getting started. I don't know how they're going to do it, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's seeds of it here, but my wife, who's kind of she's off and on, so pay attention to major storylines or, pay attention to the people that she cares about. She's a big Roman Reigns fan. And right when he won that title, forgot to mention this, right when he won the title, she comes in and she hears the boos, and as she's walking by, she just goes, why the fuck did they make him a heel already? And she left. And I was like, you're right. Just make him a heel. But, I don't know. I mean, obviously you can do that. Maybe that'd be something to help Roman as well. Not sure how you pull that off with Dean being on another show, but hey, I mean, they still have the club. The club is basically still a unit, just with guys on different shows. So I guess you can do it that way. That led us into the main event, Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens for the Universal title. And we weren't even I don't even think we got through the entrances before Cole, Corey Graves was great on this show. Like I said before, Michael Cole being paired with Corey Graves has increased Michael Cole in my eyes. He's been a lot better. But not even the full entrances get done. And Cole, and correct me if I'm wrong, says there's been 3 Universal Champions and made this sound to be the most prestigious thing ever. There's only been 3 Universal Champions. Am I wrong? There's been 2. and the belt is less than 2 months old. Did I miss something? Did I hear him wrong?
Yeah, I like it when Jericho claimed that, or the other week on Raw, he sat there and told Owens, "You're the longest reigning Universal Champion."
Exactly. So maybe they're just poking fun at us smart marks here, and just we'll throw shit like that out there just to really piss you guys off. But I don't think so. I think Cole was given, hey, there's only been 2-3 Universal Champions. Someone fed that to him, and he went along with it. And I was fully expecting Graves to call him out on that and say who the hell was the third champion or something. But no one did, and we moved on. And it pissed me off. Sorry.
It was vacant.
You know what? You're right. Vacant. Vacant, the second ever Universal Champion.
Greatest wrestler ever.
Vacant. 2017 Vacant Hall of Fame. Let's book it. Getting into the match, the crowd seemed, maybe it was me, but did the crowd seem kind of dead to you at the kind of very beginnings of this match?
Yeah, and I think it had to be because of leftovers from the match before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of killed some of the crowd and everything, but like I said, they brought it back together. They put on one hell of a match.
They did, and the match kind of turned. I mentioned that the crowd was dead, but there was one person who got the crowd behind them. Man, did they love them some Kevin Owens here in this building, and how could you not? I have never in my life taken notes on a match for either when I'm doing an article, a column, or something helping out another podcast. I have never ever reviewed a match, and as I'm reviewing, taking quotes from a wrestler as he's in the match. Owens got some good ones for you. There was the one point, I believe at one spot, Seth is out on the floor and Owens is on the ring apron and he's just, is he okay? Is he just, oh my, it was so tremendous. And then we got the typical Kevin Owens headlock spot and the ask him thing that he does. Just great. And then there was the, oh God, what was the one everyone was talking about? Oh, the Fade to Black. When he's done with Seth, he's going to fade to black. Get it? Just great.
Just a little nudge to everybody that knows. The joke.
Oh yeah. And then I thought the announcers could get a good job of harping on this one. This one I highlighted. There's a point where Owens has Seth in a corner, and he screams at him, "It's my time. It's my time." And the first thing I thought of, Triple H. On the ascension up to the WWE title, theme song, "It's my time, it's my time." And I thought the announcers really could have took a chance to harp on that. And, he's the new protege of his new mentor is Triple H. He talked about that in that first promo after winning the belt. I thought they were harp on that. And then I remember who the announce crew was, so they kind of missed the boat on that one. And, God, what was another one? Let me scroll here. Oh, the architect. You're the architect? You don't even have a foundation.
Yeah.
It's so great. And I mean, the crowd ate all this up, and it basically, like I said, the match part of itself was fine, and Owens got them kind of into it, and they ended up on the outside, and Rollins is eyeing the Spanish announce table. And I read in the group someone go, "Oh my God, it's Hispanic Heritage Month in the WWE." And they're going after the Spanish announce table. Now, the German announce table is less than 2 feet away. You could have easily gone through the German. No, they did not. They teased it earlier. Eventually, they go back later on, and Owens misses the senton, and it goes right through the Spanish announce table. And it's WWE, people. That's just what they do. Owens teased a package pile driver, which got a reaction. Not as big as a reaction as I thought it would get, but it got a reaction. They had a awesome transition where right after the package pile driver, Seth hit a rising knee and then ate a super kick from Owens, and Rollins hit him back with an enziguri. Seth avoided a couple cannonballs. Owens hit a cradle neck breaker that was fantastic. And then out comes, he's the MVP of Raw. Jericho comes out. And
with the scarf.
With the scarf. People, Now, when we say the scarf, it wasn't just he put the scarf on his neck. No, this thing is draped and on Jericho.
While still wearing a wrestling outfit.
And still fully dressed in his gear. Because why not? Jericho comes out, gets a distraction to the ref. Let me see here. I lost my spot here on the notes. Oh, we have a couple of near falls here. There's a collision spot where Owens runs into Jericho. We get a near fall off of that. We had another rising knee from Rollins, and we get the DX cross chop. Tells Owens to suck it. Hits a pedigree. At that point, when he hit that move and he went for the pin, I thought at that point there is no way Seth Rollins is going to win this match, and there's no way he should win this match. This feud needs to continue. I thought that was just great. After that, Rollins started chasing Jericho around the ring. Gets back inside the ring. Owens cuts him off, goes for a pop-up powerbomb. Rollins jumps over, knocks out the ref. So the ref takes a bump, and look, when you saw this live, obviously Rollins is in the air. He comes down on the ref, and he gets pushed no harder than my 14-year-old daughter can push me. But this ref is dead. Dead.
It reminded me of the ref bump at I think WrestleMania was where Triple H fought Undertaker. And the ref took like a 20-minute break while they went on and had a match outside the ring.
This ref was dead and was never, ever back in this match. I guess Seth Rollins has the Lex Luger bionic elbow or bionic forearm. This man was out. So ref is out. Jericho gets more involved in this match, which to me at this point, you would think, and I kept waiting. It's like, at some point, Seth or Foley, and I thought it would have been Foley, would have came down to get some order to this match, but that never happened. Let's see. Owens gets hit again with the pedigree, and there is a visual pin. So again, this makes Rollins still look strong. And I loved it because normally when you get a visual pin, the crowd will count to 3 and then complain. Not this crowd. This crowd, I stopped them at 20. This crowd got all the way to 20. Jericho then jumps back in the ring, beats up on Seth for a little bit. Seth dumps him to the outside. Then he hits a pair of dives. And I wrote here, these were the safest dives in history. He went between the ropes. He made sure he went right at whoever he was. He hit every part of Jericho's body and every part of Owens' body for cushion. There was no chance Rollins was going to do anything wacky here. After the dives, they end up back in the ring. Owens hits the pop-up powerbomb. I'm sorry. Stephanie comes out, sends out a brand new referee, which distracts Seth Rollins. Rollins then turns around, eats a pop-up powerbomb for the pin. Owens is still your champion. And they cut away to Stephanie. And there's a look on her face, which there was 2 things I thought when I saw this look. 1, hello. And 2, it's almost, you were kind of left with the impression that, and I don't think the announcers harped on it too much, but she knew sitting at that other referee was going to distract Rollins. And that's exactly what happened. Kevin Owens is still a champ, and you're kind of left wondering if Steph is secretly still trying to help Owens or not. I thought this match was fantastic. Match of the night easily.
You forgot on the last pedigree, he went to go hit the pop-up powerbomb, pushed Rollins up. Rollins came down and basically grabbed him in the pedigree.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah.
It was a nice spot.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's a little slide, little smile from Stephanie, where it's telling that maybe she was happy the way it ended.
Exactly. That's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like I said, it was a great match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, it's just I was surprised. I mean, everybody thought Triple H was going to be one coming out, but with Stephanie coming out, makes you wonder again. What's the point of Foley?
Well, I think initially the point of Foley is just to be the babyface foil, but it seems on a lot of these issues they take up for one another, which I don't know. Like I said, I thought during the point when the referee was out, I thought that was a clear sign for Foley to come out and get some type of order when it came to Jericho, but that never happened. So I hope during Raw tomorrow it's explained why Foley allowed Jericho. I mean, it wasn't just like Jericho was out there and jumping on the apron. Like, he physically got involved in this match. And will there be repercussions? Will Jericho have to face Lana tomorrow because they both interfered in the match? I don't know. But we'll see. Overall, like I said, I thought this was a really good, solid pay-per-view, right on par with Backlash. There's people who are crying about finishes, and I get that. I'm upset about a few finishes, but overall, fun show. Check it out.
Yes, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Would give it higher, but man, when you have like 5 minutes of just sitting there going fuck after Cesaro has killed himself.
yeah, it kind of took. I'm glad he's okay. At least, you know, immediately after he's okay. We'll see. You know, hopefully everything's fine there. But I forgot to mention there was a spot that I was concerned with Rollins about. There was the guy. They were on the top rope, and Owens has Rollins in a fireman's carry, and it's supposed to come down and kind of do a gutbuster to the knee, and Rollins landed really, really funny. And for the rest of the match, he kind of held his ribs and his arm. So I hope there's nothing there in terms of injury, but it looked pretty bad too.
Yeah, that was one of them spots where you cringed as soon as you saw it.
Absolutely, and he worked the rest of the match fine. Like I said, he kind of sold his ribs there. Hopefully, that's all that was just selling of the ribs. But yeah, it really helped with the match. Great. And did I mention you gave it a 6.5 out of 10? I liked it obviously a lot more than you did. I thought this was an easy 8 out of 10 to me. I love this show. Even with the bullshit finishes, I love this show. But switching gears. Yeah, switching gears. Let's see. Let's just dive right into the UFC 205 card.
Well, before we do, I want to talk about this first. Do you think Big Country's done with UFC?
Oh, yeah. For those who didn't get a chance to check that out, there was a UFC show on Saturday evening, headlined by Cyborg and Lina Lansberg, and I'll get to that in a second. But we had Big Country fought Bigfoot Silva, and second round TKO. Big Nels, Rory hits a big right hand, drops Silva, and at this point, Big Country thinks this fight is over with, but Big John doesn't step in and stop it, so he's just throwing bombs from the top, just landing all over Bigfoot. And these two are friends. They very clearly announced that they're friends. They're trained together. They know each other very well. Big John stops it. I don't think it was a terribly late stoppage, but it's a late stoppage. And after the fight has stopped, obviously Rory's very, very upset, and then turns around, and people say this, he kicked Big John. It was more like like you would kick a kid off you. He threw at Big John, but yeah, when I saw it, I was shocked. And two, now you've got, you had what you had with Edmund and Verdun from the last pay-per-view, and then now you have this. You've got to suspend these guys for this stuff. This is ridiculous, and especially with it being a UFC or a commission official. You can't just let fighters get away with that. I'm not sure what punishment they hand down, but he needs to. There's got to be some type of suspension, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. No matter what, you just can't put your hands on the refs. That's not what they're in there for. They're not, not fighting. They're not doing anything. That was wrong.
Yeah, and another thing that kind of annoyed me about it too, if there are some, obviously the refs are there for fighters' protection, and if Big Country felt that hey, this is my friend and this fight should have been over with, that's one thing, but there's no cause or need for you to do this. Who was the God? I think it was Sage Northcutt's opponent, who after that fight was ended, he got his hands on, I think it was on Herb Dean. And have you heard from this guy since? Like, you need to set an example. You cannot get physical with officials like this. It's ridiculous. You cannot do that.
It was surprising because it was Big John. I mean, there was Mazzagatti.
Well, everybody's wanted to kick Mazzagatti once or twice.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's just you can't have that, and that was on basically was on TV. I mean, if that was on like Fox, during the main event, prime time, you got that. That's gonna look bad on you. Yeah, I like Big Country, but he needs to be suspended.
Yeah, and even his explanation at the end of it, I wasn't buying that either. I understand that that's your buddy and all, but there's no reason to ever hit an official. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a Chris Rock philosophy. There's a reason to hit everybody, just don't do it. So yeah, this is definitely not one of the ones where it was cool for you to do that. So we'll see how the UFC or the commission. Well, they were in Brazil, so I mean those commissions aren't exactly known for handing out punishment. Man, I guess I can save that for another show here. But yeah, since we're on the topic, let's go ahead and talk about that show. I mean, the show itself was fine. I didn't get to watch the prelims. I watched just the main card fights. I did see Prince Felder and that huge vagina that he had on it. Oh my God. So that was actually the second doctor stoppage of the weekend. There was one in Invicta also, and I'll talk about that on another day. But this Felder cut was bad.
Yeah, I mean, when you see on there, you saw the blood, you think, oh, it's not a bad cut or anything like that. Oh, early stoppage, oh man, you get all upset. Then when you actually see the cut, it was like a Marvin Eastman cut.
Oof, yeah, perfect description. And it sucks for Marvin Eastman, who had a pretty good career, but anytime now we have any of these bad cuts, the first person we think of is Marvin Eastman. But yeah, pretty bad cut. So obviously Felder was very disappointed. We'll see what the UFC does with. I don't think this is one of those things where we have to rematch this fight. I'm pretty sure they'll give Felder another chance to get out there against a quality opponent on the show to kind of, make up for that. Because he was losing the fight, but you never know. The fight was close enough, and to have it end like that, and I believe he cut it on one of the elbows when he was on the bottom. It sucks when you're a fighter. He wanted to continue, but not with that you couldn't. We already talked about the Roy Nelson fight. Renan Barão versus Felipe Nover. I thought this was, when I heard that this fight was taking place, I thought this was very much, they were trying to showcase and get Barão's confidence back up. He won the fight. It was pretty convincingly, but this wasn't anything to write home about. And I'm not sure what's up with Renan here lately. I don't know. When it comes to MMA fans, one of the expressions I hear the most that I really hate is stole their soul. But TJ may have stolen his soul. He has not looked the same since that first loss.
Yeah, you go, what was it? Was he 20-something-0 at the time?
I think he was like 21-1 or something like. He hadn't lost in 10 years. Put it that way. He hadn't lost in 10 years.
And TJ destroyed him.
Twice.
I mean,
Twice.
Yeah. And you know what, too? I mean, you noticed after that's when we start having the weight cut problems and everything.
Yeah.
Like it says, his confidence was shook. Maybe they got him here. They're trying to see if they can build him back up. I don't know. I need to see more convincing fighting out before I get on the Renan Barão bandwagon.
And maybe this fight will do it for him. Like it wasn't the most dominant or most impressive performance, but maybe something like this is a performance he needs. I'm not a Renan Barão fan, perhaps, but I do recognize greatness when I see it. And this guy was great for a very long time, so I would love to see him get back to that level that he was at before his fights with TJ. So we shall see what happens. Not that exciting of a fight, but he got the W, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Now, the main event. Cyborg and I'll get this out quickly. The fight was nothing to be excited about. First round was very much a clinch battle. Cyborg had Lina against the cage for most of it, got a takedown, and just basically overpowered Lina. I have to go back and look at the stats, but I don't even think in this whole fight there was one significant strike landed by Lina at all. She was smothered, she was battered, she was on the receiving end of flurries, and got to the second round, and everybody's, oh wow, she made it to the second round. Well, she got to the second round, smothered again, taken down, beaten, fight was stopped, TKO victory, Cyborg. I'm going to let you go first before I say what I have to say about Cyborg.
I would just want to see one of these girls. I understand Cyborg's on another level, but I would love for one of these girls to sit there and try to throw a punch at her. It seems like all of them are scared to get hit. They're scared of her already. That they can cover up. I don't know if she was thinking maybe if I go later rounds she'll get tired or something. But they never throw a punch. It's all Cyborg, and it's just you wonder if one of these girls start punching back, does she have the chin for it? Does she? I mean, I'm a little concerned too. I think if they want Cyborg to stay, they need to make a 145 division. Her cutting weight, taking birth control pills to lose weight, it's not healthy.
No, it's not. And oh boy, I don't know where to start with this. Let me start with you brought up the weight thing. Yeah, for those who hadn't known, this fight was at 140. Cris normally fights at 145. Her last fight against Lizzie Smith was also at 140. UFC signed Cris, I believe it was maybe 2 years ago, and it was understood at that time, hey, they're going to sign her. She weighs 145. She's a 145-pound champion. But they signed her for 2 reasons. 1, to keep her away from Bellator, and 2, for her to fight Ronda Rousey. That was the goal. And at that time, Ronda said, hey, fights at 135. So it was understood that the UFC would sign her, keep her in Invicta, keep her, getting some fights, and eventually she would make her way down in weight to be able to do a fight with Ronda. Now, a lot of things have changed over the last 18 or so months. We get these 2 catchweight fights. And I've done shows where I've expressed how I feel about Cyborg calling up 135ers to fight her at 145. I've dealt with the whole her wanting to do catchweights with any bantamweight that gets any type of pub. But one thing I'm getting very tired of is hearing about Cyborg's weight every fight she's in. I read so much stuff here. I put an update up. She came into the fight week, 25 pounds? She's 25 pounds over or something like that. It's ridiculous. I'm tired of hearing about it. If she wanted to have these fights at 140 for these super fights, she keeps calling them super fights. If you want the fights at 140, I don't want to hear about how much bigger you are and how much weight you have to cut a week going in. Do I think she needs to be fighting at 140 in UFC? No. Would I prefer it if they had a 145-pound division in the UFC? Yes. Is there a reason there's not a 140-pound division? Yes, the talent is not there. And I hear people say all the time, well, if they made the division, people will come. The reason the 135 division was made is because think about who was in 135 when Ronda got brought over to UFC. You had Ronda. You had Misha, who she just beat. Sarah Kaufman, who she just beat. You had all the 135ers from Invicta. The talent pool was already there. When you look at 145, even at that same time, could you name me the top 5 at 145 at that point? Can you name me the top 5 right now at 145? So it's just not there. So yes, they can create a division, and yes, some girls may decide, hey, I can make 145, or I can't get anywhere at 135, so I'll jump to 145. But the talent pool just isn't there yet. And so I hear Cyborg going into the week, I'm 25 pounds heavier, and George Lockhart is her nutritionist, decides to put her on birth control. The reason being is apparently when Cyborg is on the rag, she balloons up in weight. So it was a way to kind of manage her weight and make the water cut easier. And I'm hearing this, I'm just going, I don't fucking care. Just make the fucking 140 pounds. You said you can do it. She ended up doing it, by the way. Which I never doubted that she would make 140, despite all the reports about how heavy she was and how tough this weight. She's a fucking professional, and I will give her that. So if she signs a contract at this point that says she's going to fight at this weight, she's going to make it. Now, I'm hearing some stuff now that she weighed 141.5, and they round. I don't give a shit about that either. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, this girl is huge. She fought at 140. She doesn't want to fight at 140. She wants to fight at 145. Big fucking deal. UFC is bending over backwards for this girl. She's giving her every opportunity. And then at the end of the day, she's fighting Cant. Have you ever heard the name of Lina Lansberg before this fight event?
No. Never. I didn't even know who she was. I knew nothing about her.
when she was announced as the main event, and by the way, congratulations for Cris for getting the main event spot. When the main event was announced and they put it on UFC.com, there was no profile picture for Lina. Not even something they can grab off of SureDog or fucking MMA Weekly. There was nothing. And look, all respect for Lina for, going in there lasting 2 rounds. Good for her. And I've seen her credentials. She's a world champion at all other types of disciplines. But you could see it in a fight. Cyborg was so much bigger. She was so much stronger. She's big. She's a big girl. So, the Cyborg saga, look, will I watch her fight? Yes. But I'm done hearing about she wants to fight Ronda at 140, or she wants Ronda to come to 145, or she wants Holly Holm at this weight. She's bigger than these girls. So at this point, I would prefer for her to just concentrate on her division. Talk about girls in your weight class and build your weight class. Or hell, go to 155 and challenge bigger girls. Right now, you beating up on these little smaller girls than you, this fight wasn't fun. And I'm just tired. I'm tired of the saga. I'm tired. I'm going to stop on my rant. I'm just tired. Ugh, that felt good to get that off my chest. So, moving on. UFC 205 has become... There are so many stories surrounding this. I think you were the first one to send me... You sent me a message during the week that said, Eddie and Conor's not going to happen because Conor's hurt. Dana says this. We hear from all different reports that, hey, the fight's going to be off because Conor's injured. So what does Conor do? Puts up a video, shows him training. He's fine. So we all start to speculate, hey, what's going on? Is it him and Eddie thing? Or is it a money issue? What's going on there? And then Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's the number one contender for the lightweight title. Did you see his post with his bout agreements?
Nah. Oh, he got sent two. He got sent 2 of them, didn't he?
Yes, he got sent a bout agreement for a title shot at both UFC 205 and 206. So he posts this up there. Hey, I signed the bout agreements. I'm ready to go. We still hear nothing from Eddie other than Eddie wants to fight Conor. Conor says he's healthy and ready to go. What the hell is going on?
I don't even understand it because this whole card just got wacky. They're just changing stuff. I don't know if they want to save Conor for something else, like he's talking about Aldo again, wants to do that fight, or I just don't know. Because I mean, you're in New York. This is your first time there. You might as well treat it like UFC 200 and put out your best fights you can. And the biggest names is, fortunately, Conor McGregor.
And you bring up, make it like, look at the rest of the card. I'll get over the card that's announced here shortly. This card is stacked very much like UFC 200. They're treating it like UFC 200, except, like before we went on the air, you said, hey, there's no Weidman on the show. Al's off the show. They're off. John Jones, obviously, is not going to be on the show either. This is just, it's weird. And then I hear, this is a rumor, so I don't want anybody to report this as fact or anything. But there's a rumor now that UFC wants to strip Eddie Alvarez of the title because he's now turned down 2 fights. This is getting crazy. And look, I was listening to Wrestling Observer the other day, Dave Meltzer, and he's bringing it up, and it's a topic. Maybe we can say this for another day, or if you want to get into it now. Ever since the UFC sale, and Conor's and Nate Diaz's and Brock Lesnar's disclosed pay has come out, and they can see all the money flying around. Fighters are just kind of holding out for more pay, and we're starting to see that. And if there is a hint of truth to this fact that, hey, Eddie's maybe holding out for, he wants the money fight. Not everybody wants the money fight, so he's holding out for that, and they're possibly thinking of stripping him for the title. Things might get bad here.
Yeah, because I mean, you had some reports. You had reports like Roy McDonald disclosed what he got for the title fight with Robbie Lawler, his last fight, and it was $53,000.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Main event for the title, and you're getting $53,000.
Listen, listen, I'm one of the people that's always. I'm very much, and I've said this before. I'm very much for the little man or the worker bees in any business. I think you should go for whatever money you can get. The ownership and the people above you are making so much money off your back. Fight for whatever money you can. I'm always under that, guys. I think what a lot of people are missing here, and I'm not trying to say this about Eddie or Rory McDonald or anybody like that. Don't over value yourself. Don't overvalue yourself. And hearing that Conor made $3 million for his event, but it's the biggest selling UFC of all time, I get that. Now, the 10 and 10 structure they have right now, I think is beyond ridiculous. I don't think there should be any fighter making less than $50,000 per show. I really don't believe that. I think you can definitely afford to pay these guys more than that. But this could get bad with guys holding out for more money and people not getting fights. And I could just see this being a disaster, and it's already reflected on this card. Let me quickly run down what's been announced for this fight. We have Tyron Woodley versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson for the welterweight title. That's official. That's announced. Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Carolina Kawalis. I've tried to say this 6 times before I got on the air. You know who Carolina is. Anyway, that's for the women's strawweight title. That's announced. Donald Cerrone is facing Kelvin Gastelum, who's replacing Robbie Lawler. That's official. Miesha Tate and Raquel Pennington. We'll get back to that one. Let me finish running out.
Okay.
Frankie Edgar versus Jeremy Stevens. Tim Kennedy, Rashad Evans at 185. Lyman Good and Belan Muhammad. Jim Miller, Thiago Alves. Rafael Natal and Tim Boach. And Liz Carmouche versus Caitlin Chokagain, I believe is the correct pronunciation there. I might be wrong. So that's what we have officially announced. They made very much sure during the fight this past weekend to let you know that the bout order is subject to change, which means there's still a main event spot open. Before we go into more of that, let's go back to Miesha Tate, Raquel Pennington. I think I sent you that news. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I mean, it's a good matchup with Miesha. Good chance for Raquel to start showing she's got some stuff for the UFC. I like it, but as of right now, I do not think that's a main event card. I don't think you can leapfrog over all these other events with that one.
Yeah,
Miesha got beat bad her last fight, and no offense to Raquel, but who was she?
Well, Raquel has at least a name value for being on that tough season with Ronda and Miesha, so there's that with it. I'm kind of with you on that, though. When I heard this fight, I thought 2 things. Raquel is fighting. She's not just fighting a step up. She's fighting a couple steps up here. She's leapfrogging, having to fight a lot of women who I think would make for a more interesting matchup.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say more interesting. Fights that make more sense for her. And for Miesha, it reminded me now of the Felipe Nover and Hannah Barral fight, where it's like, is this supposed to be a showcase fight? Because I'm a big Raquel Pennington fan. Taking nothing away from her, but Miesha has fought much tougher competition, people with much more experience, and Raquel, as much as I love her, there's some things she has yet to show in her fights, and this looks like a very lopsided fight to me. Now, is there a chance Raquel can put Miesha away with some ground and pound? Absolutely. Raquel obviously lost a split decision to Holly Holm, so take that with, what you will. But this fight makes no sense. It really doesn't. What does Miesha get out of winning this fight? Nothing. She just gets a win. Now, Raquel obviously has a lot to gain from a win like this, but I don't understand Miesha signing this fight unless it's just a thing where her and her people are saying, hey, just take a fight, let's get a win back, and that part of it makes no sense to me. I will say this: I would have done this like this. I would have had Raquel Pennington and Kat Zingano. They fought in Invicta previously, but Kat's coming off a long layoff and a loss to Juliana Pena. And, Raquel's on a 3-fight winning streak. We didn't mention that, but she's on a winning streak. But that's a level of competition that's a step up, and it makes sense for both girls. On Miesha Tate's end, I know she doesn't want to do the fight, but her and Juliana Pena, one, it makes sense. You establish a contender, and it'd be a good fight.
Yeah.
I just don't get this matchup.
Nah, I mean, I see where they might be going because there's a rumor that a certain female is returning at 207, and she's gonna be taking on Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, we can get into that. Yeah.
So I mean, she comes back and then maybe if you get Miesha a win, and maybe if Amanda wins her fight, Miesha can try and get back, a shot again. But it seems like a rush bout. Like it was just something we need a filler.
Yeah, and Miesha, has a star quality to her. Obviously, she was on a very big card in UFC 196 and main evented UFC 200. So yeah, it seems like kind of a way to get a name on there. But just this matchup is really, really weird to me. But let's go back to what the certain female fighter you just brought up, Ronda Rousey. Last couple of weeks, there's been pictures posted. There's been rumors, or not rumors, but it's been said she's back in the gym training. She looks great, if you've seen her last few pictures. And the rumor is there is a tentative bout agreement for UFC 207. I believe that's December 30th. December 30th in the new T-Mobile Arena against Amanda Nunes for the women's bantamweight title. So I guess I'll ask two things. One, is this the fight to make? Is this world title fight the fight to make? And two, is this maybe too early of a return for Ronda? Would you put her on a different card, or do you think this is the perfect time to do it?
I think it's a perfect time to do it. I mean, she still has the star quality name. I mean, there's no bigger woman fighter right now than Ronda. She's definitely earned a rematch. I mean, she had one loss, but look what she's done. She's defended the title. And too many girls can say that.
Only one. Joanna Champion. That's why she has Champion in her last name.
So, I mean, and, what do you got? You get, Ronda comes back. If she loses, she's going to go back to Hollywood and everything. She'll go back to doing her stuff. She'll be a special attraction. If she wins, they get right back behind her, start pushing her again, start getting all that money back again that they think they lost. So I like it.
I think it is the right time. I find it so funny. Ronda's one of those trigger people I talked about on the last show me and you did. You see a fighter get knocked out, someone who's been on top for a while, and they get a knockout. You heard it with Aldo. There was a lot of this brought up with Aldo. When McGregor knocked him out, people were saying, hey, Aldo needs to take a lot of time off. He needs a full year. You need to take a full year off and recover. Or here we are. It's not even been a full year, and all you hear is Ronda's not coming back. She's been destroyed. Holly took her soul. What the fuck ever. So, yeah, she's taking some time off. She's had some injuries she was dealing with. She had some Hollywood obligations that ended up not necessarily all panning out and things like that. So, if she's mentally feel like she's ready to go and she can physically get back to it, I'm fine with that. The fight itself, I know there's a lot of people that would want to see Ronda versus Holly or Ronda take on Cyborg. And just really quickly, first of all, I've already been over the Cyborg thing. I'm not going to fucking talk about that again. But as far as Holly Holm goes, I've asked this for a few people. Holly was the champion. They said, hey, we want you to wait it out till Ronda comes back. Holly decides she wants to be a fighting champion, and she should be applauded for that. Very much applauded for wanting to get out there, wanting to give the number one contender a fight. Now, she rolled the dice and she lost. And she wanted to get right back in there, get back in title contention. She rolled the dice again, took the fight with Valentina, and lost. I hate to say it, but yes, Ronda and Holly right at this moment right now would draw very, very well. But there is a lot off of that rose right now with coming off 2 straight losses. It's a lot. I'd love to get Holly in there against someone like man. I mean, if Jessica I hadn't lost her last fight, I would love to put Holly with her. And, get Holly a win. And then, that fight will still make money. But if Ronda's got the title and Holly's got to win, you have a lot more money you can make off of that. So, I mean, if Misha's not going to fight Cyborg, she's not going to fight Holly. I'm sorry, if Ronda's not going to fight Holly and she's not going to fight Cyborg, this is the fight to make. I'm completely fine with it. Like you said, she's a dominant champion. She's defended the belt. She's the reason women are in this UFC to begin with. If anybody deserves to have an immediate shot whenever they come back, it's her.
Yeah, she's gonna sell pay-per-views, basically.
Oh, absolutely.
Holly, you kind of get that idea. Maybe Holly is on the out for UFC. You know, I get that weird feeling like, you know, they have some resentment towards her for everything that happened. I'm not saying, you know, they're generally mad, but, you know, there's still that little, hey, you kind of screwed up our cash cow.
Finna say, it's UFC we're talking about. They can be petty like that.
And, yeah, just, I think, like you said, if Ronda comes back as champion, Holly gets a win, they could build that up again. You know, the last woman to beat Ronda. That would actually sell better. But just to come back and play it, nah.
And so we'll have to wait and see. Nothing's official. Nothing's been officially signed yet, but that is the floating rumor that we're looking at the end of the year card for the return of Ronda. It'll do big numbers. It's probably going to do, this year has been, let's see, we had a 1.7, a 1.6. UFC 200 did 1 million buys. It'll be high up there. It'll be high up there. I don't know if it'll be the biggest, but it definitely would be high up there. Very interested to see what happens there.
And if they get what they want for the Toronto show,
oh yeah,
they're gonna be sitting pretty.
Oh yeah, very good. And the year didn't start off the greatest for UFC, but it can definitely turn it around here in the last couple of months with these pay-per-view returns that they're getting here. All right. Couple of quick notes here before we wrap it up. Our favorite boy, CM Punk, still making headlines. Did you hear Mike Jackson is offering his services to fight Young Punk to give him another fight in the UFC?
Yeah, they both lost to Mickey Gall, so why not?
Yeah, why not? Go ahead.
I think he would be good on maybe a Fight Pass. Or maybe, you know, heck, I might even put him again on your Fox show. You know, first bout, something like that. Because you know he's going to get attention. He's going to get viewers there to watch.
Yeah, I can see the Fox or FS1 card, definitely. I don't know if you do it with the Fight Pass. Although, I mean, in theory, you would want something like that on Fight Pass to get, you know, subscribers up. And get people to subscribe to UFC Fight Pass, which you can find a link to and get a 1-week free trial on commonmanpodcast.com. Just had to throw that in there. Thanks for that setup for that one. Be very interesting to see what they would do, because obviously the pay-per-view numbers from 203 are coming in. They're not on the high-end projection, like you've heard some people go up to 800,000 buys for that one. It's going to kind of come in around 450 to 500,000, but I mean, you look at what the shows have done that are not Conor or Brock or, you know, UFC 2, anything like that. Getting 450 to 500,000 is phenomenal for that card for what it was. So they might try to put him back on pay-per-view, but I think you're right. I think the Fox or FS1 route and getting the viewership is a great use of Young Punk.
Yes. And I will say this, I know not UFC, but are you excited the American Gangster's back?
Oh, yes. Yes, my favorite, CHAEL Sonnen. CHAEL P Sonnen, sir. Oh, there's... I have to bring this up when we're talking about CHAEL Sonnen. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I kind of read this in passing because there was so much news going on around that time. So, CHAEL says he signed a contract with Bellator. And did he say that if he failed a test, that he would lose his total purse and be suspended?
Yep.
That seems like a very odd clause to put in the fight contract.
Well, you know, because I know he had a problem before with the doping.
Yeah,
Enhancement.
Just a little bit of doping. Yeah, I find it weird because you have situations like you have with John Jones and Brock Lesnar, and I think a better example is probably Tim Memes of what I'm trying to get at here, where you may fail a test, but it's an unknowingly failing of a test. Like Tim Means he was originally gonna have a 2-year suspension because he failed a USADA test. Things kind of trickled out. He was able to provide that it was a tainted supplement. Got it reduced down to 6 months for unknowingly taking a tainted supplement. So I'm wondering if a situation like that applies to CHAEL. Would he lose out on his whole purse, or are they talking like, if we catch you on that, Vanderlei Silva, you need to run from the cops type of stuff, yeah, then we're taking your whole purse. So I'm interested to see. This is a very weird contract setup, but hey, who cares? CHAEL's back, yo.
Yes, and he's already targeting Tito, and it's great.
There is nothing that would bring me much more joy. And look, I try not to fighter bash at all. But if there's one person I don't mind bashing when it comes to fighters, it's Tito Ortiz. I would love to have someone just dropping elbows on Tito Ortiz. So I'm very excited for the possibility of that fight.
Yes. Just a build up to it would be awesome.
Oh,
CHAEL should be a professional wrestler. He's even cut a promo.
Oh yeah, and it's not the. It's very different from how Conor does his shtick. Conor's a very. It's very. I don't even know how to describe it. CHAEL's much more like a superstar Billy Graham with his promos. There's a lot of rhyming, and there's a different swag. With Conor, you always got to get the feeling that Conor wakes up in the morning, and when he takes his morning piss, it's not just piss he's pissing out. He's pissing out excellence. He just feels that everywhere he goes, and it just oozes off him that way. CHAEL's much more. I'm cutting you down as my opponent, but I'm also building you up so that when I beat you, it means something. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yes. If you ever get a chance, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, where it's just CHAEL Sonnen talking about Brazil, which is fantastic.
And you know what the crazy thing was? They did that Tough Brazil. It was him. He was coaching. I think. God, was it the year Vanderlei? And he came across as such the baby face on the Tough Brazil thing. CHAEL is just amazing. It's so good to have him back. And I can't state enough how much I cannot wait for the promo time for him when he comes back. That should be tremendous. But on that note, I'm going to wrap up the show today. AJ, thank you so much for being on today, man. Is there any final words you want to leave with the people? Any final thoughts?
Hey, man, everybody just love each other. We got enough hate out there.
Exactly. I think that's something we can all hold on to is just, keep the peace, keep the love. It's a rough time out here in the country, so, just treat everybody right. At the end of the day, we're all here. We're all trying to get the same things out of life, which is being happy. Let's just keep that in mind. So with that, like I said, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for listening. Visit commonmanpodcast.com. It'll get you all the links to the shows. Make sure you hit up our proud affiliates, Amazon.com, UFC. Check out the Herbalife 3-day trial. All those descriptions are, all that information is in the descriptions. It's all over commonmanpodcast.com. I'll be back later this week doing just a quick show. I'll go over Invicta and some of the other news throughout the day. And once again, I want to thank AJ for being on with us. Till later, people. Peace and chicken grease.